Welcome back, everyone, to Security Token Show interviews. This week we have both David and Richard joining us from both IronWave and Castle Placement, respectively. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Great. Thanks for having us here.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming on. You guys have interesting news coming out that you guys are raising, or specifically David at IronWave, you're raising $15 million for essentially what my understanding is a blockchain-based operating system here. So tell us a little bit more about what you're working on here, and then we'll get into the offering and so forth.
Sure. So IronWeave is a new and novel approach to blockchain. Instead of a single chain, there's an unlimited number of interacting chains. And every time there's an interaction, whether it's a payment, a token, or any other sort of data, a secure, private, individual block is created and placed just on those interacting chains. So this flexibility and scalability enables all sorts of things that just weren't possible and still aren't possible with other chains. And it really unlocks tokenization of real world assets in ways that just haven't been able to be done before.
Got it. And when you say ways that haven't been done, I mean, we've seen, multiple real world assets being tokenized on multiple chains, private and, public. What are some of those things that haven't been done that you're kind of referring to here?
So in IronWeave, there's no set block size. So you can have a little IoT update, or you can have an MRI on-chain data. And because of the nature of IronWeave and the fact that every block is encrypted and there's an unlimited number of chains that can interact, those blocks that are created are only accessible by the participants. So it's a level of security and privacy and a data unit for an online world that just hasn't been available till now.
Got it. Sounds like this could be also just applied to other things that's outside of real world assets too.
Absolutely.
What would be maybe some of those other, non-real world asset, applications as well that you kind of have in mind?
Sure. Well, the payment industry is ripe for all sorts of kind of disruption and upheaval. So that's one area, but healthcare records is another. One of the unique aspects of IronWeave that also makes it different from other online data sources is because each interaction is in its own encrypted block, and it's owned by the individuals who are participating in that block. It's resilient against ransomware. So anybody who has data and has an environment where their database or their data store has been hacked, in IronWeave, we prevent that because each data unit is its own individual unit.
Got it.
Healthcare, financial services, insurance, and asset trading.
Very, very interesting stuff. And, blockchain again is a technology at the end of the day that can be applied and repurposed for different, areas and whatnot. So it's interesting to see what you're building here. I do want to get back to the point that this is at a capital raise at the end of the day, and you're doing it through Castle Placement here. Richard, tell us a little bit more about, the offering itself, whatever you can share, and to what extent this is, a tokenized offering versus traditional.
Sure. Just for background, Castle Placement is an SEC registered FINRA licensed investment bank. We've been in business for 16 years, and we just raised private capital for our clients. So we raised multiple billions of dollars for our clients. And this capital raise is being done as a traditional Reg D 506C capital raise. However, the investors will have the option to convert two tokens when the token event occurs. And the tokens themselves will be corporate currency, which is a Castle Placement branded structure, and allows the holder of the token to not only have an ownership interest in the platform, but also affinity benefits in connection with the platform. And we think that that's extremely powerful.
Mm-hmm. There's two things there that I want to touch on. Absolutely. First and foremost, maybe touch on the logic between, rather than starting, from the get-go as a security token offering at the end of the day, right? Why are you taking it as the approach being, a traditional raise and then convert?
Sure. There are uncertainties in the marketplace right now from a legal regulatory compliance perspective. So we thought it was most appropriate to do this under Reg D 506C, which limits it only to accredited investors. And then when the token event occurs, it will be opened up to the general public.
Yeah, it's a little bit less siloing off of, preference, and, kind of just give the choice down the line, it sounds like. The other part to corporate currency you mentioned was affinity, right? And perks of those types. Tell us a little bit more about what you're seeing in the market and what you mean by that in terms of this offering.
Sure. Well, it depends on the issuer, because affinity benefits would be very different for a music concert company versus a blockchain technology company. But for IronWeave, David, why don't you go through some of the affinity benefits that we're offering?
Sure. So one example is of an affinity benefit is a discount on the fees associated with the activities on IronWeave. So for example, if you have a certain amount of tokens, you may get a discount, you will get a discount on the fees associated with the platform. Another example is priority access to running nodes, for example. So there's logic within the IronWeave architecture that points activity toward nodes that are of the highest performance and lowest cost. So if you are a corporate currency holder of IronWeave tokens, then you're going to have priority in terms of the nodes and the traffic based on that. There are other governance structures that will enable you to also have kind of a priority say. And in the end, this corporate currency now allows investors and owners to have benefits that otherwise you wouldn't get, whether it's a standard kind of stock issue or other sorts of blockchain things. Other blockchains may have yield sorts of things, but we're going to go a step beyond that and take tokenization and the corporate currency concept that Richard has created and take it a step beyond.
Yeah, no, this is intriguing, and this is also, part of the benefit of blockchain in general, right? It's knowing exactly who holds what and be able to assign those benefits immediately on an individual basis. I think. Are you guys getting feedback here?
Yes,
we're good. I'm good.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I think one of the cases that we often reference here is, the AMC trying to give out popcorn to their investors, but it's like, how do you verify who your investors are, especially if the holders are in street name, right? So, blockchain, to your point here on the affinity part, obviously lets you know exactly to the other point of who gets those benefits and at what amounts. So glad to see you're practicing.
I don't know if we've gone through David's background, but his team has built infrastructure that allows a lot of flexibility in terms of what the token holder can do. David, maybe if you could spend just a minute talking about your background.
Sure. Yeah. So I have 20 plus years at Microsoft and background in operating systems, security networks, et cetera. And so one of the things that Richard may have been alluding to is the ability to create these blocks in real time. And because there's flexibility in block size, it allows you to do all sorts of interesting things. For example, you could confirm identity without revealing identity because these interacting chains in these blocks are private. So for example, if you're talking about the popcorn at AMC, rather than someone having to look up, oh, okay, well, your name is on this list, you could just quickly scan your IronWeave chain on their kiosk and say, oh, yep, you're available for free popcorn without revealing who you are. That may sound trivial, but there are all sorts of reasons why privacy and security like that could be applied in a digital and online world to a lot of benefits, whether it's identity or certification or any sort of thing that just opens it up, not just to moviegoers, but to enterprises that are kind of sitting on the sidelines waiting for a private, secure environment where they can still engage with the rest of the world in a holistic online system.
That makes sense to me. Absolutely. We've seen, zero knowledge proofs be in conversation and other applications, but obviously if you kind of have it at the blockchain layer too, obviously it helps to build this. And curious, is this EVM compatible or, from a tech perspective, what does this blockchain look like?
So we have built it from the ground up. And so it's not specifically EVM compatible, though we could build that compatibility in later. It is, again, instead of one chain, you can have millions of chains, and every interaction doesn't have to get stuffed into a parallelized block system. It's tens of hundreds of thousands of transactions happening simultaneously. So the opportunity for all sorts of different applications without having to wait in line to use the chain has all sorts of, like I said, different applications.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and we're curious to see, obviously that evolution happen. But there is a reason why you're doing a capital raise, right? There's more to build, I'm sure. So for anyone watching, what's the best way? How can they find, more information related to the raise if they wanted to participate? And also, how can they just follow along either way with IronWeave and Castle Placement on your respective, endeavors?
Sure. If you just go to our website, castleplacement.com, and click on the IronWeave transaction, you'll be able to see comprehensive information about the company and the raise, including, of course, important risks, which you should consider.
Fantastic. And then IronWeave, I'm sure we can all visit your website as well, learn more, and follow you guys on socials.
For sure, ironweave.io, and follow us on X at IronWeave and others.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thank you. And with that, we'll be transitioning on to the next section of the show. David, Richard, thank you for coming on today.